All right. I want to welcome everyone to the webinar. Are you on there, Ron?
I am.
All right. Exciting, exciting. Well, welcome everyone to the webinar today, getting high traffic locations, tips, tricks, and training. Surprised to see how many of you are on here. That's really exciting. We're just going to wait 1 or 2 more minutes just to see if anyone else is going to jump on board here. I see them trickling in, so let's just wait just a minute. All right, we just got another one coming in. All right. Well, we're going to start in just 1 minute. For any of the new guests, welcome. We're just going to wait a few more minutes, see if anyone else trickles in here. Surprised how many of you are on today. That's exciting. And we'll get started here in just a moment.
I got my cup of tea. I'm in no rush.
Good to hear you there, Ron. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. If anyone else comes on late, they can catch up with us. So anyway, welcome everyone to our webinar here on getting high traffic locations. We're really excited to have everyone on. And just so everyone knows, at the end of the webinar, we're going to give you $750 in amazing bonuses. It's something really, really neat that we've put together, and we're not going to tell you what it is now, but be excited for the end of the webinar. Also, everyone attending, they get our 7 secrets of creating a massively successful vending business. We'll email that out to you if you don't already have it. I hear a little background noise. I don't know if that's you, Ron.
Uh,
Something staticky.
no, I'm not hearing it.
Okay, if anyone has any problems hearing anything, just shoot a message out, and we'll see if we can get it fixed. Anyway, so let me tell everyone a little bit about myself. I started my first vending business, believe it or not, when I was 20 years old. I actually bought 100 bulk candy machines, similar to that one you can see there on the picture. And I'm down here in Southwest Florida, and going door to door in 100-degree weather, trying to find places to put vending machines. I'll tell you what, was not the most exciting thing. But I learned something. I learned that I was very good at locating, and I was very good at getting it done. And I kind of just fell into it because I began helping other people, get their machines located. And that's how we kind of fell into what was Kickstart Locations. And that's our vending service, vending locating service. So people have gumball machines and candy machines and that kind of thing. And that was over 9 years ago. And, one of the biggest problems we found that, all vending people have is, acquiring locations. So anyway, this is 9 years ago that I started this. And anyway, that turned into Kickstart 360, which is what we're doing now. And we're going to give you some amazing tips today. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Ron to you guys. Say hello, Ron.
Hey, there's the old guy. Yeah, no, I bought my first vending machines in 1990, and did very well. Have 40 years of sales and marketing experience, and just love this industry. I love what we do for people, and I love working with Rob, and it's just a joy. It really is. And anybody that is on this call that's spoken to me knows I'm very enthusiastic about what we do. There isn't anybody that's going to deny that.
Definitely. That's the one thing I learned with Ron. Working with Ron, I mean, you're working with pure excitement all the time. And, he has such a passion for helping people grow their businesses. And he's an amazing guy to work with. I can't say enough good things about Ron. So, but anyway, let's get into our first little segment here, and that is the problem of getting high traffic locations, right? So, using traditional locating methods, essentially door to door or, telemarketing, it's very difficult. You end up more with mom and pop shops, if I can be honest with you. They're kind of lukewarm leads. By the way, we have a couple new listeners. Welcome. Stay to the end. At the end, you're getting a ton of bonuses just for coming, and we're just getting started, so you came here at the perfect time. So anyway, we're just getting started with the problem of getting locations, right? And this is all about, why traditional locating methods don't really work, especially to get into high traffic locations, right? Which is what everyone wants, because everyone wants to make money. So when you're going door to door, you're telemarketing to get into locations, you're pushing your product on them, right? It's always lukewarm. So even if we're doing locating over the phone and we're prospecting businesses and they say, oh yeah, we're kind of interested in that, let's set a time to meet. When you go in there, you're still selling, right? You still have to convince them that you're the right solution for them. Or, they may have another vendor in there now, and then you've got to convince them why you're better. So that's what we talk about, the quality of locations, right? Traditional locating, you usually end up with poorer quality locations.
Well, if I may jump, one thing that I wanted to add is that when it's strictly telemarketing, what happens is the reason people reach out to a locating company is because they don't want to do the selling. And when you're given a terrible location that still needs to be sold, okay, then it's counterproductive in the fact that why did you hire that company if they're just giving you somebody out of yellowpages.com that just happens to be breathing on the other end of the phone. See, so it's like, you're still selling. So it's it's just a total waste of time and energy and money.
Yeah, I mean, Ron's right about that. That's something a lot of people don't realize is that you're still selling, with traditional locating methods. You still got to go in there and pitch. And that's one of the most difficult things in any business is pitching, and selling. So, what is the solution, right? The solution is kind of taking control of your locating. And as we say, stop banging on doors and let them come to you, right? So, utilizing 21st century technology to enable businesses to find you and request your services instead of you having to sell them, right? We're talking about getting locations without having any sales ability or without having to sell at all. When they come to you, the lead difference is totally different. The quality of the location is totally different. They're ready for service. They need service. And what type of locations do you think do better? Those locations that you've got to sell on your service, or the locations that are coming to you and be like, yeah, I need your service. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. When they come to you, those are the best businesses, and they usually produce by far the best results.
Can I jump in here for a second? If you were selling your car, would you want to just get in the white pages or walk down to every house on your street and walk up, knock on the door and say, hey, I'm selling my 2012 Camry. I want 15 grand for it. Or would you just want to just put an ad on Craigslist and wait for the phone to ring? Well, obviously, you just want the phone to ring. And that's the difference in using the 21st century technology, the internet marketing. It makes all the difference in the world.
It does. And, just for everyone out here, I want to say if you spent $10, $20, $30, $40,000 and you're feeling disgusted with your vending business, maybe your wife's mad at you because you've still got machines in the garage, you're not alone. Ron and I hear that day in and day out. You're not alone. There's tons of people in your shoes. There is a solution, I promise you. There's a way to get those machines located in high traffic locations where you don't have to sell, and you can really turn your vending business into a massive success. So, but anyway, let's move on to the four segments, the four topics we're going to cover today. Number one is inflated expectations, right? So if any of you got into like the business in a box type thing, maybe with healthy vending machines, where they kind of sold you an all-in-one package, and they promised all this stuff, you can kind of relate to the inflated expectations. We hear that all the time. The second thing we get into is getting locations first, right? This is one of the most important things that most people don't even consider. If you've already got your machines, that's okay, don't worry about it. But in the future, as you expand and grow your vending business, it's very important to get your locations first, and we'll talk about that here just a little bit later. Third topic, this is probably why everyone's here, how to get large companies and corporate locations. We're talking high traffic locations. We're going to show you how you can go out there and get those businesses without doing any selling whatsoever. And the fourth topic, which, it's something, I almost want to cover this topic on every single webinar, and that is building equity in your vending business, right? So many people miss this. So many people think it's all about cash flow. How much money am I going to make per month with my machines? What's that dollar amount? But they fail to think about, what am I going to be able to sell my business for in the future? How do I build real equity? How do I build a real asset? And we're going to go into that, and we're going to give you 3 really core principles of what you need to do to build equity in your vending business. All right, so let's get into the first topic here, and that is inflated expectations, right? So, a lot of vending distributors or business-in-a-box types, where they're selling you, machines, and they may promise locations or whatever it may be. I mean, they kind of leave you in the dust once they sell you the machines. They're not providing, training, or if they do provide you training, it's usually ineffective training. It's not training that's, that's actually going to help you acquire locations, which is the most important thing. The other thing is ineffective locating. I mean, I can't tell you, Ron and I have heard where they're sending out postcards to acquire new businesses for for vending machines. That is the absolute probably worst way to get into locations. And the end result is you still end up stuck with machines, right? So if you've had inflated expectations and you're kind of disgusted, there's a little chat box in there. Put a 1 in there if you're kind of disgusted and you feel like whomever sold you the machines or the business in a box kind of left you out to dry, once the machine sale was done. So let's wait just a second and see how many 1s we get in here. Okay, all right, they're already starting to flow in. Okay, good. All right, perfect. So I'm glad to hear everyone, or we have a lot of people here anyway, are relating with that, where they've been through that and they've felt that pain. You're not alone. So many people that we talk to every day, are as going through that or has been through that.
And Rob, let me just jump in here that 70% of the people of our customers have had bad experiences with either the supplier of the machines or the another locating company. I mean, that is absolutely crazy. That we're like the doctors almost. We gotta clean up everybody else's mess.
It is.
It's just the way it is. But it literally 70%. That's just it's nuts.
No, it is, and but we understand. I mean, people come and some people are a little bit jaded, a lot of bit jaded. We understand that. I mean, we've been doing this for a long time, and we understand where you're at. We know how to take you from point A to point Z. But anyway, the purpose of this webinar is to really show you and teach you how to get into high traffic locations. And anyway, so let's talk about one thing here. This is locations first. This is our second topic, and I think it's really important. So many people don't consider this when they're getting into the vending business. But getting your locations first is imperative for a few reasons. Number one, you don't know what type of business you're going to be getting into, right? Is it going to be a blue-collar business? Is it going to be a white-collar business? I can tell you one thing. Blue-collar businesses, you're probably not going to be able to pitch them on a healthy-only machine, right? You may be able to have a mix in there, but, they're more on like Cheez-Its, Lay's, potato chips, and Coke. Versus, pop chips and granola bars and that kind of thing. So, you've kind of got to cater to the demographic of business that you're going after. The other thing is, number of employees and foot traffic, right? So if you're in a business with, 500 employees and you're in their break room, probably a little combo machine is not going to be the right answer for that business. You're probably going to need a separate soda machine, a separate snack machine, and maybe you need 2 soda machines and 1 snack machine. 70% of sales in the vending industry come from soda machines, not from snacks, right? So, if you had a combo machine in a business with 500 or 1,000 employees, you'd be going there twice a day to fill the thing up. I mean, it would never, ever work. So that's what we're talking about, getting locations first and then acquiring the equipment after that. The other thing is egress. What that means is, can you fit your machine not only in the building, but in the break room or wherever the actual machine is going to go? That's something that a lot of people never even consider. And you wouldn't believe there are some massive businesses out there that then you get to the break room and the door is like 30 inches wide and you can't get anything in there. Am I right, Ron?
Yeah, that's that. There's no doubt about that. The machine's 33 inches wide and the door is 30 inches wide, and they're not going to change the size of the door. I mean, that's that's the reality. So that's really definitely something to consider. I mean,
You know what? I can give a. I kind of forgot about this. When I first started my vending business, I got one of those like crane machines, that have little toys in it, and I actually had it delivered to the business direct from the manufacturer. So I got it. I got it right there, and then I realized, oh my gosh, there's no way we're fitting this in. I'm not kidding you. We took the door off the hinges and slammed it through there. The guy was really nice, but I mean, a lot of businesses, it's not going to be that tight. I mean, you're not going to be able to get it in at all. But I've been through that, and you really need to make sure whatever machines you're buying are actually going to fit in whatever the room or whatever the business is. The last thing is, and this is a great tip. This is going to save you so much time, money, and headache. Is getting the machines shipped directly to the business, right? So that does a few things for you. Number one, all right, it gets rid of all the logistical issues, right? It's going straight from manufacturer, wherever you bought the machine, directly to the business. Second thing is the business is excited because they know they're getting a brand new machine. If you're getting it, well, even if it's a refurbished machine, they feel like it's going to be brand new because it's coming directly from the distribution company with the machine. So that's a great way. It's just a great money saver. Do you have anything else to say on locations first, Ron?
No, I think you pretty much covered it really in the fact that I think knowing the size of the business, the type of whether it be employees and or clientele, so that you can cater what's in the machine to that segment, and then yeah, just the size I think is you pretty much covered it.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean that's a big one that I like to cover because I don't think a lot of people really consider that when they're purchasing machines. So now here's why everyone is here on this webinar today, and we're glad everyone is here, and that is getting high traffic locations, right? How do you get high traffic locations? So what is the first problem of acquiring high traffic locations? That is getting businesses to know you even exist, right? So how do we get businesses to know you exist? Well, what's the first thing you do when you're looking for a new service or a new product, right? You go searching for it, right? Where do you go searching? You don't go to the yellow pages anymore. You go directly to the internet and you type in, whatever you're looking for. So, for example, you see this little advertisement here. This is for one of our clients. Please don't search this and click on his ads because it costs money every time the ad is clicked. But here's a real example of one of our clients, and you can see his city is called Naperville. And, if you're in Naperville, by the way, all you have to do is search for vending, and his ad will show right directly at the top. So the number one tip I'm going to give everyone to get high traffic locations is make sure you're visible on the internet, and specifically using Google AdWords, because that's where everyone searches. So you can look at the ad we have here for him, right? Naperville area business. So it's qualifying the business, they're in his area, and then get a free vending machine. And then you can see in the little subtext it says snack and soda vending for Naperville area businesses, 100% free, no contract. And then it's got some here what we call site links, so they can quickly go to products, contact us page, service area, or if they click get a free machine, it's going to bring them directly to a page where they can fill out a little form to get a free machine. So that's the number one tip we're going to have for you is getting businesses to know you exist. Advertising on Google AdWords is one of the best things you can do to gain exposure without selling, right? Businesses that come here and click that ad, they're looking for you. It's not the other way around. You have so much more leverage in negotiating when they're searching for you and when they're coming to you versus when you're prospecting them. Anything else to say on this first problem here, Ron?
No, I think the only other thing to say is that the scenario should be that this is what catapults the business, gets it rolling, and then SEO, search engine optimization, will then take over down the road and continue to do the same thing, but free. Okay, that takes a little more science because you have to be like you are, the search engine guru. So that's that's related, but it's a separate entity in itself. But that's where down the road you can get the same results, even more results eventually for free.
Yeah, we may eventually do a webinar on teaching SEO and how to do it, but it's a far more in-depth process doing SEO than it is putting up ads. So we don't have time during this webinar. But just a quick thing: if you look at this ad, right, it says right underneath where it says all and it's highlighted in blue, it says about 94,000 results. So you can see with ads, when you're putting these ads up, you can get to number 1 out of 94,000 instantly like that. Which is amazing. An amazing thing to do. You kind of dominate the market almost instantly when you do that. So let's go to the second little tip, right? So the second tip is, beyond the first problem is getting businesses to know you exist. The second problem is credibility, right? You're competing against Coke, Pepsi. If you've ever heard of Canteen, they're one of the largest vending companies in America. There's other very large, dominant players in the vending industry that have spent a lot of time building out very professional businesses and professional websites, right? So the second key here is creating a level of professionalism and a level of credibility that's going to allow so when businesses come to you and they do find you, that they feel comfortable using your services. You look professional, right? What's that line there? It's perception is reality, right? So that's the second key, is creating a website where you are perceived to be a dominant player in that industry. Anything else on this one, Ron?
Well, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And we have literally had some of our customers say that, the reason that they got this big account, okay, was because of a very impressive website.
No, I mean, that's definitely true. Even if you, for example, let's say there's a business you really want to put a machine in, and you send them an email with a link to your website, and they get to a website that really is professional and credible, they're going to be so much more apt to actually request your service and feel comfortable doing business with you. I can't tell you how many clients we've had that say, yeah, it's amazing. They got to our website, they're like, whoa, this is nice. I can see all your products and all this different stuff. And that's why we chose you. In fact, we had one client who said a business researched them and like 2 or 3 other companies. And they came back to them because they're like, wow, I mean, your website was so nice. I could look at everything. I understood everything. It was explained to me. I didn't have any worries. Like, a big concern of businesses, well, am I going to have to pay for this, right? So we're very clear. Get a free vending machine for your business. We provide free vending service at no cost to you. I mean, how many times do we say free in there? Free machine, free vending, no cost to you. It has to be very apparent and clear, because if there's lacking of clarity, then people get nervous and they'll back away from you.
Sure. And what large company or corporation in today's world is not going to ask for a website? The mom and pops, the guy that has the little auto repair, or maybe like a little beauty salon or something, they don't want to walk across the street to buy their afternoon chips and soda or whatever, so they'll beg you to put a machine in. But any business that is large and formidable is going to ask for a website. This is 2016. Business, any kind of business for that matter, without a website is not at the top of the earning scale. That's the bottom line.
Absolutely right. And we're going to get to some more website tips here in a minute, but not just having a website, but having a website that is effective. So let's go into some of the website tips, part 1, right? So, for example, we've got this client in Naperville, and so what is his domain name? Which a domain name, if you don't know, is www.domainname.com. So for him, we have napervillevending.com. So who do you think, it just inherently in your mind, is the dominant player in Naperville for vending? It's probably the guy that owns napervillevending.com, right? So that's the first one. Get a local-centric domain, meaning your city and then the word vending in it. And if you can get your city and vending right next to each other with nothing else in there, that's by far and away the best thing to do.
Well, Google loves that. Yeah. Sorry, Rob, but Google loves that. When a website goes live, Google sends out spiders and they crawl through the whole site. And the first thing they check is the domain, and then they go through the whole site they read the site, and then they send all these messages back to Google. And when Google sees, oh wow, Naperville vending, then they understand, because they can tell by the IP that it's in Naperville. I'm getting now. Terrible.
Yeah, yeah, Ron is exactly right. You know, it also helps for SEO if you have your city name and the word vending in there, because, you know, ideally you just want people searching for vending and you're coming up #1. If you have your city and the term vending, it's going to help. It's going to put you light years ahead of the competition.
Right.
The second thing is having a call to action that draws someone in, right? So one of the best calls to action you can possibly have is get my free machine now. So if you look at this call to action here we've got on this site, it's you know, get my free machine, and then you can see the button there. It says request a free machine. So it couldn't be any more clear. And then in the smaller blueprint it says we provide free vending service. So again, we just continually reiterate what it is we're doing. So when they click on the ad that says get a free machine, we provide free vending service, and then they get to your homepage, and that's the first thing they see. Get my free machine. We provide free vending service. It's congruent, and that's what they want to see. That's really going to help you convert people from, you know, someone with interest to someone who is requesting your services. So the next thing is going to be the service area map. And I can't tell you how many vending websites I've been to, and this kind of kills me inside a little bit because I just know how much business they're missing out on. They don't have service area maps, right? If the business doesn't know what area you're servicing, how can they possibly know you're the right company for them? Okay, having a service area map tells them, 1, here's the areas that I target. Number 2, I'm local. And number 3, I'm going to be able to provide you good service because I'm in very close proximity to your business, right? So what do big businesses want? They want a vending company that's going to be able to provide them exceptional service quickly. So having a service area map that says, yeah, we service this area and we're local, I mean, that means so much to them. Anything else to say on this first tips part 1, Ron?
Just, you know, proximity. Wow, I'm getting such a but proximity is key because they need the fast service and good service, and that's really the bottom line to it.
Yep, Ron's right. Ron broke up a little bit, but he said, yeah, fast service is great service. You know, and that's totally true. So let's go on to website tips part 2. And that is having a product list by category, right? So you're in the vending business, but really you're in the business of providing people what they want when they want it. So if they can see, you know, a full list of your products, that's going to put in perspective what they're actually getting. So you can see here on this site we've done, you know, beverages, candy, chips, nuts and fruits. So no matter what it is they're looking for, they can find it and they can visually see it. So if they click on one of those categories, it's going to bring up a full visualization of all those products. And that's what you want to have because you want people to be able to visualize and get excited. Oh, yeah, you know what, I really wanted Twinkies, or I really wanted Cliff Bars or Snapple or whatever that product may be. If you have that and they can see it and visualize it, that's going to get them so excited about it.
Hey,
the second thing is, yeah, go ahead.
Let me just jump in here for a second. That feedback had me thrown off before. I'm still getting it now. But can you go back one frame, please? Because there's something that really crucial with. Look at all the cities in the service area. Everybody in vending, when they have a service area map on their website, should also have a landing page for each one of these cities. I don't think we brought that up, did we? And that's so crucial. That drives more local traffic because when someone in Arab, Alabama sees, wow, they see, you know, xyzvending.com/Arab. Now they're going to go to that page because why? It's somebody local. And that is such a great lead source. It's crazy. That in itself is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, I mean, Ron is right. So, what we mean by a landing page is this. So, you will have a separate, what you need to do is create a separate page for every city that you target. And at the top of that page, it needs to say, for example, Moody, Alabama vending, or Coleman, Alabama vending, or Decatur, Alabama vending, right at the top. That way people know that you're local to them. And then everything else is basically going to be the same. You just want to make sure that as soon as they click that little ad that draws them into the site, that they know it's right for them and it's in their area. So let's get back to the website tips part 2, and that is vending machines offered, right? So these, by the way, these don't even have to be machines that you actually own right now. These could be machines that you would purchase in the event that you acquire an amazing location, right? So businesses just want to know that you are big enough to provide them various different options and what they're going to be able to get. Anything else you want to say about this, Ron?
No, I think you pretty much covered it. I mean, when you show an array of products and an array of machines, even for that matter, but more so, I think the products, it lets the location know that they've got a little bit of control over it too. They know that they don't have to be just to take what you throw at them. That they can be a part of picking what's good for their employees, and that gives a little more connection there. So I think that's very crucial.
Yeah, definitely. Ron's right. I mean, giving them a decision and giving them some control over stuff is a really crucial point, and it'll persuade a lot of businesses, to choose you over someone who doesn't have those options. So now let's get into this is all about getting high traffic locations, but part of being in the vending business and acquiring locations is also cold calling. Okay, so we're going to give you some cold calling tips on what to do, when you're doing this. And, so this is the biggest question we get. Well, if we're calling a business, who do we ask for? So in the majority of larger businesses, the HR manager is the one who handles vending. And if it's a business that's not big enough to have a full-time HR person, you know what? A lot of businesses, that are perfectly big enough to support vending, that aren't big enough to have an HR manager, you just simply say, the first call there, say, who handles vending? Can you connect me with them? And then boom. You've got to get to that right decision maker. Almost generally, it's the HR manager. Almost always it's the HR manager. But if it's not big enough to have an HR manager, then you say, who handles vending? You get connected with that. The second question out of your mouth should be, are you happy with your vending service? So many times you're going to hear, well, our machine just broke down. It's never full. They don't have the products we want, etc. I mean, the list goes on, right? I mean, the list is just, I hear this all the time. We hear this all the time. They're not happy. They're not happy. So if they're not happy, then you have an in. But you got to get through one little barrier here, and that is, well, do you have a vending contract, right? So a lot of vendors will have these extensive contracts that locks out any third-party vendors to go in there for a specified period of time, which is great if you're providing great service to the business. But if you're not, then having a vending contract is essentially locking you in there and locking in your bad service. So that's number one. Are they happy? They have a vending contract. Now, no matter what the answers are to any of these questions, you want to get their email address, right? You've got to get their email address because you don't want to spend all day long on the phone calling people back, right? If you get their email, you can constantly email them. That's what we use what we call autoresponders. You can get autoresponders, pretty much anywhere. There's so many companies that do email autoresponders. And what they do is you can set it up where emails go out on a regular basis to the companies, right? So every week they get an email, telling them more about your vending business, showing pictures of your vending business. We're going to tell you about a little video. You can put that video in your email to them. So you're always, what Ron likes to say, that's top of the mind marketing. You're always on their mind. If you think of there's a couple restaurants I really like to frequent. And somehow I got on their email list, and about every week I'll get an email special from them, telling me about a new dish they have, or a wine special, or whatever it may be. That's just top of the mind. I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? I think I will go there tonight. That sounds pretty good. Anything else you want to add on the cold calling tips there, Dan?
While you were talking, Rob, I was thinking, I guarantee you, there's people, everybody on this call that have emails in their inbox that are coming in on a regular basis from some company that sells a product or a service, and they don't unsubscribe from it because they're thinking in the back of their mind that it is reminding them and that they may want that 2 months down the road. I've done it, you've done it, everybody does it. And that's what's so good about that email drip campaign and the top of the mind marketing, is because let's say that they're redoing their break room and it's not going to be ready for 5 weeks. Well, guess what? Now they're getting an email about Fred's Vending or whatever it is. And so every week they get that email and it reminds them. So when the break room's ready and they need that machine, they're calling Fred. It's that simple. So that really is crucial. Now, the thing about cold calling is that the reality is that when you're on the phone, because you and I have both experienced it, you know, if you've got 10 machines, let's say it's just starting off with 5 to 10 machines, you're going to have to spend about somewhere in the neighborhood to get one good grade A location around 20 hours, 15 to 20 hours of phone time to get one grade A high traffic corporate account. And that's not an exaggeration. That's including callbacks and whatever. So, you know, when someone's doing cold calling, they've got to set aside that 3 or 4 hours a day if they want to get it done, you know, relatively quickly. Because
Yeah.
that way there, they'll get that one good corporate account every, you know, week or two when they're doing the calls, and they've got the auto drip email from the autoresponder going out too. So that's crucial.
Yeah.
And,
You know,
and go ahead.
yeah, you know, Ron is right, and we were talking about earlier. You know, you might spend 2 to 4 hours on the phone, you know, calling businesses to get what we call, like, you know, a pretty warm lead, you know, where they're interested. The problem is, you know, out of those businesses that you get a warm lead, and by the way, a warm lead is, you know, traditional locating, they'd send that warm lead to you and say, it would say, you know, here's a location, go in there and, you know, basically sell them. The problem is it takes about 5 warm leads, maybe 6 warm leads to acquire one location. Believe it or not, I mean, cold calling is not the most productive way to acquire locations. It still requires a ton of selling, not only selling on the phone and pitching yourself, but then going into the business and pitching yourself as well. You know, so it is a difficult process. I mean, you know, it's good to get kind of kick-started into something, but you know, beyond that, I mean, it's not the most productive way to you know, continue in the long term acquiring locations.
Right.
All right. So anyway, let's move on to the next section, and that is building equity. This is super important. You know, so, I mean, when you get in the vending business, usually the goal isn't just to, you know, make a few bucks a week. It's to actually grow something that's meaningful to you, meaningful to your family, and potentially you can sell at the end of that period. But you know, a lot of people don't really consider that. So, what are the 3 things? And by the way, I guarantee you could ask anyone else in the vending industry that's only been in there for maybe 5 years. They're probably not going to be able to tell you these 3 things. But these are the core principles to building equity and creating a real asset. Number 1 is vending contracts, right? And not just a vending contract with a location, but having one that's what's called assignable. Okay, so the attorney would tell you what assignable means is you can basically assign that vending contract to another vendor. So it's not just stuck with you forever. If you want to sell that location or sell that location and that machine, you can assign that to another vendor in your area. And that provides so much more value because they're not just going in there with saying, based on your word that, oh yeah, we've got our vending machines in here, everything will be okay. You know, who can trust that? But if you've got a vending contract that they assign to you, it says, yeah, we've got vending machines in here, we've got the right to have vending machines in here for the next 2 years or whatever it may be, that holds a lot of value. The second thing is American-made machines, right? So and we know the best distributors of real prime quality American-made machines. But there's a lot of machines coming out of India, coming out of Pakistan, coming out of China, that truthfully, if you go to a big vendor, a vendor that's got 100 machines or a Coke or a Pepsi or a Canteen, and you're like, hey, listen, you know, I got this great location, I want to sell it off. They'll be like, okay, well, you know, they'll go do a site inspection, they'll want to look at it, and they'll see what machines you have in there and be like, okay, well, for one, your machines have no value to us. We're throwing them out on day one. I mean, they will literally throw them in the trash. They don't care. They don't want them in there because they don't have any. One of the keys, you know, when you run a vending business for the long term, you've got to have parts suppliers. You've got to have service people, and service reps don't know how to repair those types of machines, and they don't have a ready supply of parts to repair them. So they're of no value to a big vending business. So you've got to buy American-made machines. If you've got foreign ones now, it's okay. You know, you can transition eventually, but you know, as you grow, you really want to make sure in the future you're getting American-made machines, even if they're refurbished. You know, refurbished American-made machines still hold a lot of value versus foreign ones. The third thing is going to be records of income, right? It doesn't need to be anything fancy. It just needs to be an Excel document documenting month by month how much a certain location is earning, right? People that have been in the vending business a while are going to expect those numbers to fluctuate drastically. That's okay. You need to have records of income because it's going to give, you know, even if it's just something you show, you know, when you sell this business, You show the other vendor, say, look, this is what it's doing. They just have to feel that that everything is on the up and up, and having those records of income is going to provide a lot of credibility for you when you go to make that sale. Anything else you want to say on this topic, Ron?
Well, really, just the only thing was in terms of the American-made machines. The service people, even if they know how to work on them, they don't want to, because replacement parts, when they do get them, are sometimes even bad. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff that they run into. So the reality is that when you've got these three key components as the criteria for building equity in your business, then what you can do is you can build it up to a certain number, sell off half, keep the other half as that money churning machine for you, and keep building it up again and again and again, and keep selling off your business. So you're making money two different ways. You're making it from that steady flow of your best machines that are really just cranking out and doing good, and then your other half that are doing good but not as good, sell them off. You can sell that route. When you've got these three elements, you can sell that route for 1.5 times the annual net revenue. So if it's making you $50,000, you can sell it for $75,000, and then guess what? The little tip is, don't sign a non-compete agreement when you sell the route, because that way there you can keep the other half still going, and then also you can then build it up again and do it again and again and again. You can literally every year, 2 years, you can be flipping a route for another 50 or 100 grand, however big you want to build it. And that's really, that's the smart way to get into vending, and that's very possible for someone that's that has that kind of ambition.
No, absolutely. Ron's 100% right. I mean, selling off some of your lower performers, your low performing locations, is what some of the best vendors do. And don't worry. I mean, there's always small vendors just getting started out that would be happy to have some of your lowest performers. I mean, we talk to companies all day long that they've got locations, unfortunately, to maybe $50 to $150 a month. I mean, it sounds for the investment in the machine, it's not good, but there's a lot of vendors who would purchase that from you. So you can always sell off those and then still maintain the vast majority of your business for the cash flow. So anyway, we've gone through that. Now let's just recap kind of everything we've gone through. So the first thing is getting locations first, right? Why is this important? Because you want to make sure your machine is going to actually fit in the business. You want to make sure that you've got a machine that's going to be suitable to that business. If it's blue collar, you're going to be providing, more, Cheez-Its and Lay's potato chips and Coke, versus healthy products. By the way, real quick, if you've got healthy branded machines, that's okay. It doesn't matter. I mean, they can vend any type of product, but you don't want to brand yourself as healthy only. If you do, you're removing about 80% of the market. You gotta kind of tailor make your vending business for what your market is. So the first thing is getting locations first. Second thing is online marketing, drawing them in versus selling them. Right? It's so much easier when they come to you, because there's no sales skill involved. Right? Those leads are 8, 9, and 10 on the hot scale. Leads that you've got to sell, those are 3, 4s, and 5s, and those are tough. I mean, it's tough to go into a business and pitch your vending service, if they're hesitant about it to begin with. So as far as online marketing, right, have a very clear call to action on your website. Get a free machine, right? And the same call to action should be on your ads. Get a free machine. We provide free vending service. You've got to be very clear about what they're getting, so there's no hesitation. There's no questions in their mind. The third thing is telemarketing, right? So telemarketing is a good way to kickstart things off, right? It's not a great long-term solution, but it can kickstart things off for you. So the keys here are knowing who to ask for, usually the HR manager. If there's no HR manager, just say, well, who handles vending? And then what to say. Do you have a contract? Are you happy with your vending service? If you get through those things, if they're not happy with their vending service and they don't have a contract, okay, that's a lot of opportunity there to go in. And then the third thing is, we just went over the 3 keys to building equity in your vending business. Again, contracts, USA-made machines, and income records that you can say to someone, you can show someone. So this next page I'm going to get to, but by the way, I just want to thank everyone for coming on the webinar. And at the very end here, we're going to give you some amazing bonus. We're going to give you one bonus for $750 here in about 3, 4, 5 minutes. But we're going to get this next page. I'm going to let Ron talk about it. It's called our Kickstart Gold Package. So in case you don't have an interest in doing all this stuff yourself, we do offer a package here, and I'm going to let Ron go into that right now.
Well, yeah, for people that are working full time and wanting to get into vending and hopefully, you know, quit their job eventually, whatever, they don't have the time to be making all the phone calls, doing all the emails, all of that. You know, we've got 3 different packages, but the gold package, which is $39.99, is our most popular package. 80% of our customers go with that package, and it gets you 10 locations guaranteed. That's huge. We're going to strive to get you more than 10 locations. That's on the low side. The reality is the first year from this package, you could probably get 30, 40 locations. But, you know, as far as our guarantee, we're guaranteeing at least 10 locations. You're getting a custom website and logo creation. And this is, as you saw, is not a cheap website. If you went to have this website created and produced and uploaded to the internet, it would cost you, on the low side, $1,000, maybe $1,500, because it's custom. It's not a cookie cutter like, you know, just like everybody else's website that's not going to be indexed properly by Google. This website is going to get on the first page of Google. I mean, we know that. We do it all the time. You're going to also get, and you approve the website, you're part of it in actuality, and the logo, in that you, there's a questionnaire that you actually fill out in helping us to design that website for you. But because telemarketing is a great out-of-the-chute thing to get things rolling while the SEO and the AdWords is kicking off, we do start with a 400 telephone call campaign that gets the ball rolling. Do we like to do it? No. Is it the most effective thing? Absolutely not. But you know what? From those 400 phone calls, if we get your first 3 or 4 locations, then it's been well worth it, okay? You're getting out of the $39.99, 500 of it goes right directly to AdWords for your AdWords credit. We're going to set up the account, and we're going to manage that account for you. And 500 of those dollars are going right towards ads for you. So that's still your money.
Let me hop in here real quick, Ron. You know, the AdWords setup, we kind of just go over that. But, you know, any company that's going to put together an AdWords campaign for you is going to charge you thousands of dollars, and I'm not exaggerating here. Setting up a campaign is very difficult, and setting up an effective one is very difficult. The only reason we're able to do it is because we understand this industry so well, and we've done so many of them. We know how to do it, you know, so much more efficiently than every other company. And that goes with a $500 ad spread. I mean, you could say our package is really $34.99 because, I mean, that $500, that goes straight to Google. And, I mean, that's to get your ad right at the top there. You know, so, and also the ads, you know, if you don't have AdWords set up, you're going to waste so many ad dollars because they're not being used effectively. You know, just throwing up an ad that says, you know, John's Vending, you know, that may never get you a single location. You've got to have effective ones, you know, like we talked about with the calls to action and then the website that also relates to that. Anyway, go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, and you know, that's a key point. But you know, let's just back this off for a second. Take the $39.99, take the 500 off. That brings it down to $3,500. Let's say the website is just worth just $1,000, and then the logo another $100. So there's $1,100. So what is that from 35? Now you're down to 10 locations for $2,400, right? I mean, yeah, it's pretty darn inexpensive when you really think about it. And you know, location.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing. And let me just jump in here real quick. Is that, you know, we see so many people. We had a guy call us the other day. You know, he spent $50-some thousand on machines, but he's hesitant to pay for the locations. Ron has a great analogy. I'll let him tell you that, but I mean, it kind of kills me inside because locations are by far the most important thing in your vending business beyond the machines at all. So,
sure. I mean, you know, I tell people all the time, you could have the ugliest, most beat-up machine that's so old and decrepit, but guess what? if enough people see it that are hungry or thirsty, they're going to put money in it and they're going to buy your product. So the machine is 10% of this mix. Even though, everybody buys these pretty machines and they get sold by these slick salesmen and everything, and oh, it's so great. You know what? That's nothing. The machine is nothing. The weight falls on our shoulders. That's where the weight falls. It falls right on this conversation we're having right now, because we are, without a doubt, the most crucial part to your business. That's the bottom line. And I tell people all the time, if you bought a Maserati and it needed tires, you'd put in another 5,000 miles on it and it needed 4 tires, would you go out and buy the cheapest tires possible when this car can corner at the off-ramp off of 95 at 140 miles an hour and hug the road beautifully? Would you put bad tires on it and maybe jeopardize sliding off the road? Of course not. You'd put Z-rated tires on there that were the best. Why? Because they work in conjunction with the car. Well, that's what we're doing here. Sure, $4,000 sounds like a lot of money, but it isn't a lot of money, because this is the most important part of your business. So you can't get cheap on the locating side. And I'm not saying anybody on this call is thinking that way, but I'm just thinking out loud. But on to the search engine optimization. That's very important, because that's where we get you on the first page of Google for the free ads too. And that's where Rob is a search engine guru, and he just hired a guy. I'm not going to even divulge how much but he just hired an SEO whiz who charges, as quote unquote by Rod, ungodly amounts of money, so that not only can we get you on the first page of Google and keep you there, but to get you as much traffic as possible. And that's what we do for you. Now, also, you get a 200,000 population territory, and that is so that there's no one else that we've set up for locations in that area, and it's done by zip code. The reason we do that is really not even for the locating side of it per se, but for the reseller of the locations, because we're going to put you in a situation. Our whole goal is to strive to put you in a situation where you've got more locations than machines. That's what we want to do. We want to have you always at that point where you've always got more locations. So then you can swap out, take this one that's not doing quite as good as you want, sell that location, and then put another machine in there. Or if you just don't want that location or don't need it for whatever reason, we've set it up where you can literally resell that location for $500, $600, $700, $800. That's phenomenal. I mean, that is absolutely phenomenal, because we've actually had people with only 3 machines buy this package saying, oh, I just want the 3 locations. The rest of them I'm going to make money from being a reseller. I mean, come on. So you can then turn up the screws on the advertising if you wanted to, because we know Rob's got it down to where around $40 will get you a location through AdWords. So if you spent $40 to sell a location for $600 or $700 or $800, I would think that'd be a pretty darn good investment. And then the location contract is very important. The location reseller contract protects you so that you can't get ripped off, and the person can't steal that location from you when you're going to sell it to them. You can show them the location and not worry that they're going to steal the account. Lifetime coaching and support. This is worth its weight in gold. Why? Because there's no other locating company out there that 2 years down the road you could ever call and say, hey, I got a question. What do I do? Okay? And if Rob hasn't been through it, I have, or vice versa. Between the two of us, in this industry, there's no other team that knows this industry like we do. I bet the pinky finger on my left hand about that. And we're coming out with October 1st, and this I'm very excited about, is the Kickstart 360 Vending Academy. We're going to have a class. Every week we're going to have a class where we're going to have a different topic. We're solving the locating side of it, so that isn't what you're going to need. Some of it's going to be about locating too, but we're going to get into how to hire employees, how to manage those employees, how to run the route, how to how to service the machines properly. Just an A to Z of how to run a better and stronger and more successful business. And that in itself is worth its weight in gold too. So, and then the first 2 months with this package, the first 2 months are free. And then you'll see up at the top there, right underneath the $39.99, it says plus $59 a month. You're going to pay us $59 a month, and 50 of it is really your money. That is going directly to Google for your AdWords account. Again, that's one more location that we know will come in month after month after month. And then $9 is for the hosting, which is a very nominal fee, and that's what Locator.
Why don't you go into a little bit about how the warranty works, and why we're charging that $50 a month, and also with the 10 location guarantee warranty.
Well, yeah, on the 10 location guarantee, what we're saying is that in a year's time you'll get 10 locations. If we didn't get you the 10 locations for whatever reason, and the chances of that are almost nil, but if we didn't, then for every location that we didn't at the end of a year, we would then credit you $40 per location for towards Google AdWords. So then that way there, that $40 would then get you the location that was missing, or you can have the money either way. That is that's the way the guarantee works. Okay, but so that we don't have to worry about that guarantee at all, this other $50 a month that you're paying monthly is our guarantee that we won't have to honor the other guarantee, because we know that we're going to be having a steady stream of locations coming in above and beyond the SEO and the email and what's left over from the telemarketing and all of that. Just this $50 a month AdWords credit will be enough to get you at least one location a month right there. So that's how we know that we'll never have to honor the 10 location guarantee. Did I explain that right? Does it make sense?
Yeah, that's perfect. Ron knows me pretty well, and he knows that I don't get into anything unless I'm very, very sure about what we're doing, right? So I want to make sure that everyone is covered and you're getting what you're paying for.
Yeah, no, that's good, and that's true. Rob is he's not going to put a guarantee out there that he's ever going to have to honor per se. I mean, he'll honor it, sure, but he doesn't want to have to honor it. Okay, and that's the difference, because a more straight shooter in this industry you'll never find than this guy. I'm telling you.
And that's it. There's a couple other things I want to mention. So this is just kind of a great story that we have. We have this lady in Houston. Her name's Taria. She's an awesome client, and she had her website up for 2 weeks. We're running ads for her, and she calls me one day and she's like, "Rob," she's like, "turn off the ads." She's like, "The phone doesn't stop ringing. Turn it off. I can't take it." And I'm like, I thought we were doing a really good job. I didn't know we were doing that well. I'm like, okay, I'm sold. I'm like, she's convinced me. She's given me the confidence, in what we're doing. I mean, those stories are so great to hear, from people like that. And the other thing we're doing is brand new, is we're running a national campaign for vending service, right? So, for example, just today, about actually 30 minutes ago, it was right before this webinar, so about an hour ago, we got a new lead in Iowa. If anyone's here in Iowa on this call, I can't remember the city, we'll give that one to you as a comp if you come on with us. But what we're doing is we're running a national campaign, so businesses are coming to us beyond everything we do for you. If they come to us and you're in our network, we give those locations to you free of charge, right? If you're handling that service area, you're going to get those locations free of charge. We just got a great one today. It was an office building, I think 50 employees or something like that. I mean, these are just like bonus locations. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, they came into us, and we give those out to our clients, free of charge. Anything else you want to say on this before I move to the next slide and some of the bonuses and stuff, Ron?
No, really the only thing, if someone understands the digital side, the internet marketing side of this, of today's technology, they're going to understand that this is an unlimited locations for life situation, because all they're paying is the $59 a month every month, and that's going to just keep churning out locations month after month after month after month after month. So they literally, 5 years down the road, can still be getting locations from us and either putting machines in there or reselling them. And it really goes to where we have said, if for any reason at any time while you're with us, you're not happy with a location, we'll replace it. Because that way there, we know we've got that steady stream of locations coming in all the time. So it's really, it's really a situation where, we get a little bit up front, and then after that, we don't make any money. We just watch your success continue, and that's really what happens. It's crazy.
Definitely. Yeah, Ron's right there. And let me, I'm going to send out a link to everyone right now in the chat box. And this is, if you're one of the first 5 tonight, we've got a couple really awesome bonuses. The first one is a custom bonus video, right? This is specific for you. It's in your area. It's about a 2-minute long video. If you want, after this webinar, you can click the little link I just sent out in chat and watch the video. It'll be totally custom for your area. And this is what we're talking about. In email marketing, these videos are so effective because it goes through exactly what you have to offer in video form. They don't have to do anything. They can simply watch it. Goes through everything in your vending business super quickly. That's a bonus we're giving out tonight if you're one of the first 5 who order by 10 p.m. The second bonus, I got Ron to do this, is a 60-minute consultation with Ron. I mean, Ron is one of the smartest guys in vending, smartest guys in sales out there. His advice and his value, it's invaluable what he can offer. He's a wealth of great advice and knowledge, and he can really walk you through anything. And by the way, before we get to the bonuses, just for attending, I want to go ahead and give them out your number. Ron's going to stay. He said he'd stay in the office. It's already 7 o'clock Eastern here, but he's going to stay in the office for hopefully another couple hours. I don't know. I'm sure his phone's going to be ringing. But if you don't mind, Ron, I'm going to give out your extension now so people can call you. If they have any questions, before they order tonight. Okay?
Yeah, that's not a problem.
All right. His number, I'm going to say it out loud. It's 800-640-3598. His extension is 2. So again, that's 800-640-3598, extension 2. And then let's get to the bonuses. Because listen, we want to give you guys something just for coming out of the webinar with us. We're so excited to have everyone. And again, you know what? We're happy to have. I can't believe how many people showed up tonight. It's so awesome. We're so happy to have you. And whether you come on board with us now or whatever, we're happy to have you here. So you get 2 bonuses. Number 1, you get the 7 Secrets book to creating a massively successful vending business. That'll be emailed to you. And then we're giving away the location reseller contract, right? We want you to take a look at it. This is a contract you can use, so when you get your unneeded or unwanted locations or locations where you simply just don't have enough machines to fulfill, you can use this contract and resell them. All you've got to do, I'm going to give you this link here real quick. I'll put that in the chat box. All you do is there's a quick little survey there. Just let us know how you enjoyed the webinar. That's really important for us. Know if we're doing a good job. And as soon as you fill that out, you'll instantly get the contract and the book emailed to you. If you have any, check those out. They're amazing. Again, Ron's going to be here. Anything else you wanted to go over, Ron? Again, here's the bonuses and stuff.
I was hoping that people could put a 1 in the chat box if they liked what they heard.
Yeah. Let me look at that. Everyone, throw a 1 in here if you've appreciated, if you've learned something. It's important to us to know that we're doing a good job giving you guys the tips and tricks, of the business, so you can really, grow your vending business. All right, hey, we're getting some. Okay, good. That's awesome. All right, excellent. They're still coming in. All right, perfect. Well, listen, Ron, I'm going to sign off here. We've been here about an hour. I don't want to keep anyone any longer. Again, you've got the links. You can click those. Ron's available. Anything else you want to say before we sign off here, Ron?
I just wanted to wish everybody a good night, and thanks for hopping on with us. And, let's just make some money. That's all. Have a profitable day.
Hey, you got it. You guys have a profitable day, and thanks again for coming. Have a good one.